Hi, I'm Kelly Jean Pittman, and today we're going to talk about what is resilience and why would you want a heart of resilience. Now, I'm an author, speaker, transformational coach, and leader, and I also specialize in brain training with a focus on trauma. So, before I begin, I want to give you a little bit of background on myself. Before I do, I want to say for all you moms out there listening, this is for you. I'm doing this for you. As a mom, I felt so trapped and so unsupported, so misunderstood. There were very few resources to help me manage basically all the hurt and challenges that I had to face. I mean, motherhood is difficult. Being a parent is so difficult, especially now when everything is changing so rapidly with technology. And then you throw in pandemics, and the rules change for everything, but they really changed before that. And one of the hardest things that I've had to deal with being a mother is that my heart had been crushed, devastated, and broken so many times throughout this whole journey of motherhood. And people around me didn't seem to understand. There seemed like there was little support. And even before I became a mother, I endured 7 years of infertility, and it was heartbreaking. It was crushing. I had these expectations that I didn't even know that I had that were being ripped from me. What I didn't realize is how much kids were a part of me and how much I expected them to be a part of my life. And so when I couldn't get pregnant, it was really earth-shattering. And so motherhood ripped out my heart before I even held a child in my arms. And it was really difficult to get through all this. It was 7 years of infertility. I did mega doses of fertility drugs that I don't even want to think about right now. I had 2 miscarriages. I had a couple operations, one outpatient surgery that landed me back in the hospital in the ambulance with a life-threatening concern situation. So it was really difficult. But at the end of those 7 years in that journey, I had this most amazing, beautiful soul that God had blessed me with. And through my journey, those 7 years, I became closer to God. And after I received my child, it's like I can understand what this beautiful soul, what the 7 years were for. He was so incredible, our son, so amazing. I told God, I'm like, God, you know what? Take me to my next child. I will follow wherever you lead me. And surely, foolishly, I had thought that the hardest part was over. Infertility was really difficult for me and really heartbreaking, but God was just getting started. Little did I know He had bigger plans for me than I could ever even dream. So we adopted a baby girl and we brought her home from the hospital, and the birth mom changed her mind and took her back. Again, devastating. This was really, really hard to deal with. And then we moved on 2 years later. We actually adopted a little girl from China. And she was supposed to be healthy, and it was a very prayer-filled journey. God directly led us to this child. I won't go into details right now, but He answered so many prayers, and it was challenging. We got her off the special needs list. I didn't want her off the special needs list because all the special needs children had heart issues, and I told my husband I can't deal with a heart issue. I'd been through way too much. Parenting is difficult enough. I don't want a heart issue. So she was healthy, is what all the papers said. And then we brought her home, and boom, take her to a clinic 2 weeks after we brought her back to America. And guess what? Her heart was very sick. In fact, it was so sick after a heart cath that the doctors thought she may need a heart-lung transplant. Again, my knees dropped to the floor, and it's like, dear God, it's like, what do you want from me? I know you wanted this child here. Ultimately, I gave up to His will. I wanted His will to be done. I prayed for healing. Actually, our daughter's surgery went phenomenally well. It was amazing. She was out of the hospital in record-breaking time. She had open heart surgery. She didn't need the heart-lung transplant. And I was ready to live kind of my blissful life of ignorance and kind of let go of all the chaos. But God had another surprise in store. And what I soon began realizing is that my daughter emotionally was struggling. I mean, we're talking big time struggles. We're talking raging throughout much of the day as if she'd been beaten. And this went on for like 3 years. She had sensory processing issues. She had manic moods. She had depression. She had learning disabilities. She had vision problems. She had so many neurological issues. I can't even begin to count them. She had things that I was completely unaware of. She had significant PTSD. She had reactive attachment disorder, which many people consider uncurable. She had really what's more aptly termed is developmental trauma disorder. And so going through all this, what's so difficult as a mother is that as my child was hurting, and she was so challenged, and she had been through so much trauma that literally my heart just was torn. It was ripped out of me. I ached with this child. This child brought me to the depths of sorrow that I never even knew existed. So for moms that have a big heart and a sensitive heart, one of the toughest things in motherhood is, especially if you have a child who has challenging behavior or challenging health issues, is that it kind of drags you along on this journey that I was so ill prepared for. So, but I prayed faithfully, and God led me to lots of resources, and I submerged myself in research for over a decade. And I can tell you now that my daughter's 17 and she is thriving. She actually no longer has reactive attachment disorder. She's loving and she's kind. She went from special ed in kindergarten to straight A's in 7th grade, and is actually on the National Honor Society. God has blessed our lives immensely. And what I had learned through all this is that life is going to keep on going. In 2018, only 2 years ago, I found myself again in another situation, an emergency at 5 o'clock in the morning, with a social worker pulling me aside and telling me to prepare myself for my daughter not to live through the night. Again, I pleaded with God. It's like, what do I need to learn? And so really, and what it is, it's like a resilient heart. A resilient heart is kind of the key to enduring all the challenges that I have with my daughter. And so what happens is I had to create a resilient heart within myself, and deal with all the trauma that I had endured and that had been mapping my fear responses in order for me to heal my daughter and help her develop a resilient heart. The good news is, the great news is, it can be done. You can change. The brain can change. The heart can change. Your whole life can change. Your whole perception can change with a resilient heart. Resilient heart, it changes everything. And so, what we come back to then is this question: what is resilience and what does it mean? And resilience really means freedom. Resilience is freedom. And it's like freedom from what? It's like freedom from pain and hurt. Really, the resilient piece is the freedom to move forward without the pain and hurt. You're going to feel the pain and hurt. The resilient heart is free to feel all emotion, good and bad, but it doesn't get stuck in the emotion. A resilient heart lets these emotions flow through it so that you don't get stuck in kind of the sadness and the hurt and the overwhelm. You can let it go. So a resilient heart is freedom. It's freedom to love boldly and to love passionately. It's freedom to choose who you want to be. It's freedom from playing the victim. No longer are you a victim, always being the brunt of life. It's freedom. It's empowerment. It's freedom from the chaos. It's freedom to be able to enjoy life. It's freedom to break free from the chaos and live in joy, live in peace, live in connection. Now, the good news about all this is that resilience is available to everyone. Freedom comes from the inside out. I had to learn the very hard way is that this freedom and the heart of resilience is not dependent upon what is going on around us. Not at all. It has nothing to do with that. It comes from the inside out. It comes from the heart. It is the heart of resilience. We need to heal those old wounds in order to move forward and embrace the love and the gifts that are around us every single day. Resilience is a decision to change. It's a decision that you can make. And if you're interested in embracing resilience and this freedom and getting out of the chaos and enjoying life to the fullest, finding that joy, peace, and connection, then please join me and follow me on Instagram. Sign up for the newsletter so you get updates and new videos, and follow me step by step. And if you're interested, go look for the next video called The Heart of Resilience Starts Here, and we can get started on this journey together. A resilient heart is freedom, the heart of resilience, and you can find joy there. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.